In this bulletin, unemployment benefit will remain in the form of cash. Protocol breach hinders COVID-19 fight. And no room for ill treatment and neglect in state residential homes.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Atera Lendua.
Good afternoon, Fiji. Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama has stressed the second round of the $360 unemployment benefit will remain in the form of cash. Speaking on Radio Fiji 1 program, Nailala Kai, Bainimarama says there have been queries to convert the assistance to food vouchers. The Prime Minister says that recipients will ultimately decide how they use the assistance. Bainimarama says people should not be bothered by the constant scrutiny of the opposition about the unemployment benefit.
To
those of you who will be receiving the second round of assistance, how you use the money is entirely up to you.
There are people in COVID-affected areas, including those in maritime islands, who continue to disregard measures and breach protocols when enforcement teams are not around. The Health Ministry says these recent breaches have hindered their work not only to vaccinate and test villagers, but in monitoring and controlling people's movement. Minister Dr. Ifremi Wagainambete says they will not let the carelessness of a few deter their work in getting Fiji back on track.
Just like the Honourable Prime Minister has said, we know that's happened, but we want to keep on moving forward in terms of responding to the outbreak that's happened in Kadamu, in Malolo, and also in Desawa.
Social workers at the state residential homes have been warned to care for the elderly with respect and dignity. Minister for Social Welfare Rosie Akbar says that many of these individuals need the care and support left void by the absence of family and close relatives. Akbar says there is no room for ill treatment and neglect. She adds that these individuals are vulnerable and depend on others for their daily activities.
You are appointed here, you are employed here to look after them. I know it's going to be difficult. It is difficult, but it is something that you have chosen. Have patience, lots of patience.
The Ministry of Health is remodeling its service provision to adapt to a more COVID-safe environment. Permanent Secretary for Health, Dr. James Fong, says with increase in non-COVID admissions, the CWM hospital in Suva is working on getting its services normalized. This is to cater for both COVID and non-COVID patients. Dr. Fong says this includes the resumption of the outpatients and non-emergency inpatient services. The Vodafone ATH Foundation is providing its support to various organizations and small, micro and medium enterprises during this tough time. Vodafone Chief Marketing Officer Rajneesh Prasad says they're assisting these SMEs and other organizations with grants to ensure sustainability. Prasad says they have reviewed and approved over 50 SME applications so far this year. He adds that they have also received some application from women's groups in the country.
We would approve grants between, say, $2,000 to $5,000 to these SMEs, to these youth groups, so that they can go and start their initiative. So this is just to ensure once we give them the grant, they are able to go and start those activities and make those activities sustainable so that they can actually earn from these activities.
New Zealand had tried for years to deport the knife-wielding militant who wounded 7 people in a mall in Auckland last week. The New Zealand government said this after it released more details on the attacker following the lifting of a court suppression order. To our latest COVID-19 update for today, Fiji recorded 156 new COVID-19 infections for the period ending at 8 a.m. yesterday. 79 cases are from the west, 73 from the central, and 4 from the east. There is no new COVID-19 death to report in the past 24-hour period. Fiji has recorded 47,795 cases since April this year. There are now 15,997 active cases with 31,041 recoveries in total. The COVID-19 death toll now stands at 508. The vaccination campaign also continues around the country. 566,210 or 96.5% of adults in Fiji have received their first dose of the vaccine, and 299,943 or 51.1% have received their double dose. The 5 most vaccinated areas include Ba, Rewa, Nandrongai, and Tasiri, which are now 100% first jab. Next is Nandi. Up ahead, the tank influenced by Ranranra. Welcome back. Aseli Tuivuaka's recent signing for Italian club Zebre came as a surprise for many, but the Namosi man rather, had it all planned out. His decision to leave for Italy was made when the national team was in quarantine in Nandi. He says Semirandrandra helped him consider his options, keeping in mind his family remained his priority. Tuivuaka says while he wants to play for the Rua, he also wants to give other local players a chance to shine.
I signed that contract long before we came out of quarantine. I thought of other players that came before and will come after me trying to represent Fiji in any rugby code. I want to give them a chance to chase their dream. There's a lot of talent. I think I've done enough, and it's time for others to get that opportunity.
The All Blacks outclassed a woeful Wallabies side in a 6-try thriller to sweep the Bledisloe Cup. Even a red card to Jody Barrett could not help Australia as they sank 38-21. Fiji Bhakti Kane Evans was sent off for throwing a punch in a heated exchange between the Warriors and the Titans last night. The Warriors were down to 10 men as the Titans demolished them in an emphatic fashion for a 40-0 scoreline. In another match last night, the Bulldogs thumped the West Tigers 38-0. Brazil and Argentina's World Cup qualifier was abandoned just minutes after kickoff this morning. Brazilian health officials objected to the participation of 3 Argentine players they believe broke quarantine rules. Argentina players walked off the pitch at the Corinthians Arena after the officials came out to stop the game. The Brazilian health authorities say 4 England-based players for Argentina had to be quarantined. No date for the arranged or rearranged fixture has been set. A trough of low pressure with associated cloud and rain lies slow moving to the east and is expected to continue affecting the eastern parts till later today, while gradually moving away from the group. That's FBC News Now. Join us again for our 1-hour major bulletin at 7 p.m. And be sure to download the FBC app to access the latest in news and sports and live radio broadcasts from any of our 6 FBC radio stations. You stay safe and good afternoon.